This is the true story of Elizabeth Gilbert, a modern woman with dreams that echo those of many others. She envisions a life filled with love, a devoted husband, a beautiful home, and a fulfilling career. But somewhere along her journey, she begins to feel lost within her own life. Questions start to rise from deep within her heart. What does she truly want? What is she searching for? To find these answers, she sets out on a soul-searching journey. Her first destination is Bali, Indonesia, a place known for its spiritual energy and serene landscapes. In Bali, Elizabeth meets a local healer who reads palms and shares glimpses of the future. As he studies her hand, he tells her she will experience two marriages, one that lasts a long time and another that is brief. Curious and slightly unsettled, Elizabeth asks which marriage she's currently in. The healer gently replies that he cannot answer that, but he does reveal something else. Every bit of money she has will eventually leave her. This revelation shakes her, but before fear takes hold, he reassures her that the money will find its way back to her. As her time in Bali comes to an end, the healer makes a heartfelt request. He asks her to promise that when she returns, she will teach him English again. In exchange, he offers to teach her the sacred art of palm reading. Before she leaves, he hands her a drawing and urges her to keep it close to her heart. He tells her to always follow what her heart says. By doing so, she will begin to feel the presence of the divine, and slowly, she will come to understand it. Elizabeth moves on from Bali, and 6 months quietly pass. It's during this time that we learn she's now married. Her husband's name is Stephen. One evening, she joins him at a party hosted by a close friend. While there, she asks her friend a heartfelt question. When did you decide you wanted to become a mother? Her friend replies that she left that decision to her husband. He had said they were ready, and so they planned for a family. But Elizabeth has always been the opposite. Every choice in her life has been her own. She's never waited for someone else to decide for her. After the party, Elizabeth and Stephen drive home together. Her mind drifts back to the palm reader in Bali, the one who had told her she would have 2 marriages, one long and one short. That thought lingers. She wonders which one Stephen is. Will their marriage be the lasting one or the brief one? At the same time, she reflects on how she's lived her life independently, always doing what felt right, never held back by anyone. Yet, despite all that freedom, she doesn't feel truly happy. There's a constant sense that something is missing, something incomplete. Elizabeth is a writer, and whenever thoughts flood her mind, she pours them into her journal. She begins to feel a strong desire to embark on a long journey, one where she can document her experiences, write freely, and explore her inner world. One night, she kneels in prayer. Tears fill her eyes as she speaks to God. She thanks God for everything He's given her, expressing deep gratitude. But she also confesses her confusion, her emotional turmoil, and her longing to break free from it all. She asks for help, for guidance. The next morning, she heads out with a friend to watch a play. Interestingly, the script of this play is written by Elizabeth herself. After the performance ends, she approaches one of the actors. His name is David. She tells him that the lines he added to the story were beautiful because they gave her narrative a deeper meaning. Elizabeth finds herself drawn to David. As they talk, she notices a photograph he's holding. David explains that it's of an Indian spiritual guide. He shares that he once felt lost, searching for peace and for God. A friend had introduced him to this spiritual guide, and after meeting him, everything changed. His life became calmer, more cantered. After that first meeting, Elizabeth and David begin seeing each other more often. Their connection deepens, and, eventually, they enter into a relationship. But Elizabeth is still married. Despite that, she no longer feels the desire to continue her marriage with Stephen. She wants to be with David. So, she approaches Stephen and tells him that she wants a divorce. Hearing this, Stephen becomes furious. Tension rises between them, and their conversations turn into heated arguments. They start blaming each other, throwing accusations back and forth. But Elizabeth has already made up her mind. She's ready to end this chapter and move forward with her life. That decision gives her a sense of emotional distance from the chaos. Later, we see Elizabeth attending a dinner at a friend's house, accompanied by David. As they're leaving, her friend's husband casually remarks that David looks a lot like her ex-husband, Stephen. This comment doesn't sit well with David. It sparks discomfort, and soon, arguments begin to surface between them. What once felt like pure love now starts to shift. Complaints replace affection. Disagreements become frequent. Their relationship, once filled with warmth, begins to feel strained and toxic. Elizabeth finds herself gazing at the same drawing the palm reader once gave her in Bali. That small piece of art still holds meaning. She says to her friend and confesses, "It feels like the spark in my life has faded." She's ready to live for herself now. So, she makes a bold decision. Her journey will begin in Italy. After that, she plans to visit David's spiritual teacher in India and finally return to Indonesia. As she prepares for this transformative trip, she receives a phone call. It's the news she's been waiting for. Stephen has signed the divorce papers. She's officially free. Soon, Elizabeth arrives in Italy and checks into a hotel. There, she meets a local woman who offers to guide her. Since Elizabeth doesn't speak Italian, she carries a phrase book to help her communicate. During their conversation, the woman asks if Elizabeth is married. Elizabeth replies, "I'm divorced." The woman smiles and says that most American women come here after divorce to enjoy pasta and indulge in sweet escapes. What she means is that many women visit Italy to heal, to savor life again through food and pleasure. Later, Elizabeth visits a coffee shop where she meets another woman who's also new to the area. They strike up a conversation, and a quick friendship begins to blossom. Together, they share 7 pastries, laughing and bonding over the moment. Elizabeth is amazed. This woman isn't Italian, yet she speaks the language fluently. Curious, Elizabeth asks how she learned it. The woman explains that she had a tutor who taught her everything. Inspired, Elizabeth decides to meet the same tutor. He begins teaching her new words, and they spend a lot of time together, building both language skills and connection. The next day, Elizabeth heads to a pasta shop to enjoy a fresh plate of Italian cuisine. She's truly savoring the food, the culture, and the company of her new friends. Slowly, she begins to speak bits of Italian herself. One day, they all go out to watch a soccer match. These simple joys, food, friendship, language, and laughter, bring Elizabeth a deep sense of happiness. One morning, Elizabeth finds herself thinking about David. She writes him an email, sharing that her friend recently took her to a place so quiet, it felt like time stood still. In that silence, memories from the past begin to surface. But for Elizabeth, there's something different. She feels completely free. She's no longer tied to David, nor to Stephen. In the email, she opens up about everything she's learning through her journey. She writes that people should always be open to change, because life never stays the same. Change is a vital part of growth. Even though their relationship didn't last, and they couldn't stay together, she believes they both deserve more. She reflects that when a relationship ends, it often brings something better in its wake. Elizabeth has now spent many days in Italy, and she knows it's time to continue her journey. Her Italian tutor hosts a Thanksgiving dinner, inviting all his friends to his home. This marks Elizabeth's final evening in Italy. Soon after, she travels to India, heading straight to the ashram of the spiritual leader David once told her about. The place is filled with people from all walks of life, each seeking peace through meditation. Elizabeth joins them, sitting in silence, trying to center herself. But as she meditates, she drifts off to sleep. A man named Richard notices and gently teases her, saying she's the first woman he's seen fall asleep while meditating. The next day, Elizabeth helps clean the ashram. A young girl approaches her, sharing that her family wants her to marry, even though she's still very young. But the girl doesn't want marriage. She wants to study. Richard joins the conversation and opens up about his own past, telling Elizabeth about his ex-wife. He then asks her why she came to India. Elizabeth replies that she's searching for peace. The following day, she returns to meditation. She tries hard to focus, but her mind keeps wandering. She watches others sit in deep concentration and feels frustrated that she can't do the same. A little while later, David calls. Their conversation feels like a final goodbye. After the call ends, Elizabeth feels deeply sad. Richard notices and asks what's troubling her. She confesses that she had fallen in love with David, and she still misses him. Richard gently tells her that once she lets go of these thoughts, she'll realize that the greatest love comes from God. Human relationships may shift, but divine love remains constant. He encourages her to meditate, assuring her that if she focuses on the divine, her entire life will begin to change. A few days later, the young girl Elizabeth met, the one who didn't want to marry early and dreamed of studying, is now getting married. Elizabeth and Richard are present at the ceremony. Both of them have gone through divorce, and watching this moment brings back memories of their own past. Elizabeth begins to feel a wave of sadness again. She and Richard drive back together. Richard opens up about his life. He shares how he lost his family, how his job slipped away, and yet, despite everything, he's still trying to live, still trying to find happiness. Elizabeth has now spent many days in India. Through meditation and listening to Richard's life experiences, she's learned a great deal. Feeling ready for the next chapter, she leaves India and travels to Bali. This is where she once met the palm reader, the one who gave her the drawing and predicted 2 marriages. But when she meets him again, he doesn't recognize her. Elizabeth still carries that drawing with her. She gently reminds him, saying, "You gave this to me." She also recalls the promise he made, to teach her the art of palm reading. He agrees, but tells her she must prepare herself through meditation and focus. Elizabeth begins her preparation with dedication. She takes care of her mind and body, embracing the process fully. One day, while cycling through the streets, she collides with a car and injures her leg. She goes to the palm reader, knowing he's skilled in making herbal medicine, but he advises her to seek treatment elsewhere. Elizabeth follows his advice, gets proper care, and her leg eventually heals. One evening, Elizabeth attends a party and unexpectedly runs into the same man whose car had collided with her during her cycling accident. He approaches her and sincerely apologizes for what happened. At the party, Elizabeth drinks more than usual. Deep down, she's still searching for the peace she came all this way to find. Because of how much she's had, the same man offers to take her home safely. The next morning, they visit the local market together. He shares that he works in import-export, which is why he's in Bali. Elizabeth takes him to meet the palm reader, the same one who once told her she'd have 2 marriages. The palm reader studies the man's hand and says, "You're a world traveler. You love deeply, but you're afraid to express your feelings because you fear being hurt again." The man is stunned. Every word rings true. He has lost a partner in the past, and the woman he now cares for deeply is none other than Elizabeth. The following day, Elizabeth joins him and his son for a hiking trip. Their time together begins to grow. Slowly, Elizabeth starts to feel something for him too. But when he finally confesses his feelings, she hesitates. She turns him down, not because she doesn't care, but because her past relationships have left her wounded. She's afraid to take that risk again. Later, Elizabeth returns to the elderly palm reader and shares everything. She admits that she likes the traveler, but her past heartbreaks have made her cautious. She's scared to open her heart again. The palm reader gently reminds her that change is part of life. Just because something didn't work before doesn't mean it won't now. His words reach her. With a renewed sense of hope, Elizabeth goes back to the traveler. She's no longer the same woman who arrived in Bali. Through her journey, she's met many people, learned from their stories, and grown through her own experiences. The love and inner peace she's been searching for, she finally finds both here in Indonesia. And so, Elizabeth's journey comes to a close, not with a perfect ending, but with a powerful beginning. Her story is a gentle reminder to all of us. Life is not a straight path, nor is it always kind. But even in the face of heartbreak, confusion, and uncertainty, we must never lose hope. One broken chapter does not define the whole book. The soul grows not in comfort, but in courage. There will be moments when everything feels incomplete, when love slips away, when peace seems distant. But those are the very moments that shape us. Like Elizabeth, we must learn to listen to our inner voice, to embrace change, and to trust that healing is possible. Every person we meet, every experience we live through, joyful or painful, teaches us something. And when we begin to live from the heart, when we stop running from our past and start walking toward our truth, that's when we begin to feel the presence of something greater. That's when we begin to feel whole. So if you're watching this and carrying your own questions, your own wounds, know this: you are not alone. Keep moving forward. Keep learning. Stay close to those who lift you up. And above all, believe that your story still holds beauty yet to unfold. If this journey touched you, if Elizabeth's search for love and peace resonated with your own, then please support our channel. Like, share, and subscribe, not just to help us grow, but to help these stories reach others who might need them. Your support means the world to us, and together, we'll keep bringing you stories that heal, inspire, and remind us all of what it means to be human.